Hello, everybody. Happy Monday, and welcome back to another LinkedIn Live. As you know, every Monday I bring a guest and we have a lovely chat, and we try to give you guys as much value as we can. If you want to watch this on a replay and you don't want to bother going through my newsfeed, or you want to watch some of the previous interviews, well, we are streaming to YouTube as well. So go to YouTube, type in my name or Fail Coach. You'll find my channel. While you're there, please subscribe. And then, without me going into way too much random rambling, Josh, welcome to the show. It's a really huge pleasure to have you here. And I'll invite you to introduce yourself a little bit to the audience.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say it's an honor to be here, and I appreciate the opportunity to come speak with you and anybody else that decides to watch this on either replay or live. So my name is Josh Brunson. I'm the CEO, founder of Mastery in Sales. I have been in sales my entire life. I have really been coaching high ticket and training people on high ticket offers, how to sell their either offer or train their sales team, or train a sales team and place that sales team in their high ticket offer. I've been doing that for a number of years now, been in high ticket for over 11 years. And some of the world's biggest coaches I currently help. People will say, I've never heard of you or seen your ads. I don't run ads. I built a good enough name for myself that I'm referral based. So I like to refer to myself as the best kept secret. So for anybody's coaching program.
Okay, perfect. So you focus on coaches, either programs or one-on-one coaching, but offers that come from coaches, consultants. So when you say high ticket, I mean, there's a whole lot of different definitions of that out in like, for some people, $1,000 is a high ticket. Some others say 5,000. Others will say, 20 plus, 50 plus. So what's your definition of high ticket?
So anything that is, my definition of high ticket is not necessarily a number amount. It makes the person uncomfortable. That's what I would say high ticket would be. So most of my clients are $5,000 and up, upwards of $120,000. Those can range to about a year. $5,000 is an offer for 2 to 3 months generally. But my definition of a high ticket offer would be something that makes someone uncomfortable at that price. So that way I can coach the sale. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, so that's what you mean by coach the sales, so that it's a little bit of coaching session that flows into a sales process. Well, that's interesting, because I know that I have a lot of people in my network on LinkedIn who are coaches or consultants, and a lot of them are really good at what they do, but marketing and sales is just not their thing. Now, when it comes to marketing, we have our boy Gerard that can share his knowledge on the marketing side. But how do you maybe approach a new client? Like, when, let's say, I come to you, what would be our initial conversation? What's your due diligence that you do? And then how you approach creating a sales process. Let's maybe just start from the beginning, and that might be the biggest value to the audience.
So for me, anytime I ever am approached or referred, generally it's referred, I do my due diligence to research that person. And I do pretty heavy duty research. I actually reach out to people who've taken that course. I follow up with friends, people, colleagues, see if they've ever heard of them. Besides that, it really just boils down to a vibe on a conversation. Like, why are you doing this? Who do you really want to serve? What's the bigger vision? What's the purpose behind this? There has to be that purpose and vision for me to really get excited to help somebody, move that offer. And I can give you an example. There's a young gentleman in South Africa, and I asked him, what's your reason for really wanting to build this company? And his exact, and it was kind of caught me off guard. It was very heartfelt. He said, my father passed, I'm the oldest, and I want to make sure that I'm able to really provide for my mother and my brothers and sisters. And I said, so that's your vision, to be able to be, help them out? And he said, yes. And I said, what about your clients? And he said, I want them to get that same feeling of, I'm here to help you and help their clients. So that's really my due diligence. I want to make sure it's coming from a place of authenticity and integrity before I can really teach them the process and help them through.
Okay. And probably you're looking for something that's already validated and proven, not something new that they're just starting and they're not really sure who the ideal target audience is and so on. Am I correct?
You are, in some ways you are. I have a lot of clients who've come to me and say, hey, I'm launching or relaunching another new offer. And that's why I keep a lot of long-term clients, because of what I've been able to build with them. But if it's a new idea or new offer, people will contact me. My clients will contact me anyway and want to go over, hey, what do you think the best route is? What do we do here? What do we do there? So I can walk them through that so there's no missteps, and saving them generally, in some cases, literally tens of thousands of dollars. So I do like starting from the very beginning so there's no missteps, but I also am the guy who likes missteps because you learn from mistakes.
No, I absolutely agree. In the past, I sometimes helped clients setting up a sales system. And the first thing I usually did, I created a questionnaire that every salesperson needs to answer as a reflection after the call. And then I said to the whole team, I want 15 no's from each and every one of you, but you have to fill out the form. And by the time we came to the no 20, we had mostly all the answers, and it was just so easy to put then a good system in place. But Josh, I'll go to the beginning.
Okay.
Marketing and sales, two sometimes different verticals in a business. Often businesses appoint two different C-level guys, the CMO guy and the chief sales officer. And marketing and sales just go so much hand in hand. And of course, the marketing guys, they want to spend as little time and as little money in the marinating, nurturing process and hand over stuff to the sales team. And of course, the sales team wants warm contacts to close at a bigger, higher percentage. So how do you then help your clients to figure out where those two verticals should meet? So what's enough on the marketing side, and when does the sales team need to take over?
It's a great question. And I'll start it out like this. It's interesting when the sales manager or whatever and the marketing team, they don't necessarily align because there's a lot of finger pointing back and forth, right? So what I've done with all of my clients is become very clear on the emotional status that the person is contacting. Okay, so let's say they run a campaign and that campaign is producing leads. The people coming in, they show up as either the ideal client, they show up somebody that's a bad fit, or they show up someone that's in between. When you're so far out of those lines, what ends up happening is the people are looking for a savior. They're looking for something that they can't fulfill, or the entrepreneur or client just can't fulfill. So how I really create everybody a synergy and a culture where everybody works along is we spend one day a week regrouping and really going over what the messaging is saying based on the emotional status of those conversations, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does.
And so then once we break down the emotional status and of the person, we give them, let's say there's a savior complex, like they're coming to this client because they've spent 10 years, over $100,000 trying to figure out this problem, and they're just looking for their last, great white hope or saving grace or whatever you want to call it. They're looking for that one person that can save their business, and in some cases, save their marriage, save their life. I mean, it goes across the board. So again, we give them an actual name like savior complex or ideal client or desperation or whatever it may be. We give them that emotional status along the way, and then we can retarget and remessage or I should say I just give the information, and the marketing team changes their messaging across the process.
Okay, so you work very close hand in hand with marketing and try to eliminate the finger pointing.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, people don't buy on. They're not going to. Analytical people don't buy. Emotional people buy. But if you get an analytical person to feel something, well, hallelujah, number one. But then you can actually break that code of how analytical people think when you tie it into a specific emotion.
Yeah. No, I was asking you this because just recently I had a bigger client, and they had marketing department and they had sales department, and both were outsourced. So they had marketing agency doing the marketing part. They had closer team doing the sales, and there was this one lady who was in charge of trying to project manage them without very high level expert knowledge of either marketing or sales. She was more like a project manager because they thought, oh, these are the experts and these guys are experts. We just need to, manage the timeline and stuff. And it was just a whole shit show.
The one thing I will say, and it goes back and forth, I love friction. Because it opens up a conversation that you may not have had otherwise, if that makes sense. So if you have that conversation with the CEO or the entrepreneur, coach, trainer, whatever you want to call them, you have the salesperson or the people that are in charge of the salespeople there with a list of how many people showed, put them in the categories of which they showed, and then the marketing director saying this is who we were targeting and why we were targeting them, and you have a conversation. Trust me, I've been in some conversations where I've had and I showed up not as the salesperson, but as the sales coach to make sure that we were really working out the problem we were having. And the entrepreneur, the trainer, coach, whatever you want to call him, sent me a text message in the middle of the Zoom call. And he's like, dude, I love you, but you're going to kill somebody by the look on your face right now. And it was like, I don't want to kill anybody. I want to get to the bottom of this. And if you dance around the problem, you're never going to fix the problem. So let's just have a conversation about the problem.
No, I absolutely agree with you. But you need people with the right personality traits on both sides. And in this case, it was just, it's not us. Everything is fucked up by the other team. And the other team was doing the same thing. So there was no communication. There was no trying to figure out, bridge the gaps and figure out what will work, what will not work. It was really just a blame game. It's not us. We're doing everything 150% perfectly. The other team is guilty of everything. So it was that kind of scenario.
And I'll have to say, I never understood until I really got heavy into this stuff. I never understood. I had a mentor that used to say, it's not personal, it's business. And I never really understood that fact until I started merging and creating a different culture behind the scene, and having the sales team or one representative from the sales team representing the sales team and the marketing director sit down at the table and with the entrepreneur there. And this really just stood out to me. It's not personal. It's business.
Yeah.
We're on the same team. You make money, I make money, he makes money, and we all fucking win.
Yeah, I mean, at the end, what happened was that we restructured everything in both those companies, lost their business, and we did things in-house. We merged the department so that it was guided more holistically with somebody on top who was really looking at the whole client journey and everything. And great results at the end. So if those guys would be able to come together and talk together, as you are saying, probably things could have happened. But you need people with the right personality traits to be able to do that and not let their fragile egos or whatever that was come into the way.
Yeah. And it's people always like, man, you can just get in there and ask some really brutal questions. I'm like, friction isn't bad. Friction finds a way out. It's like water. If you pour water in let's just say we flood where I live in Fort Lauderdale. We were to flood the town. It's going to seep its way into anything and everything. I'd rather have the conversation that just is very direct and deliberate, but let's find something that works and go everywhere until we find it.
Josh, as the fail coach myself, I always say failing, testing, trying, failing is the key to innovation, is the key to something happening. Just like things falling apart, just like friction, just like conflict, but then handled in the right way with the intention of growth and lessons and learning and improvement and innovation. I absolutely stand by that. Unfortunately, these two, they weren't, the companies, they weren't up for that. But Josh, okay, so, you did your due diligence. You like me. You say, okay, I can work with Micha. What would be then, next step of the process? How would we start our journey?
You pay me. I'm just joking.
No, I agree with that. I agree.
No, there's a big thing, and I'll get into that at some point maybe. The next thing is I really dive into everything. So every funnel you use, anything advertising, anything you do that can be seen, Facebook groups, Instagrams, LinkedIn, everything. I dive in and do a complete breakdown of your wording and see where I need to start. And then from that point, we do about a week's worth of calls. And generally the very first week is a minimum of 3 calls with me one-on-one, breaking down your process. And then over the weekend, I really rebuild the process in about 2 days. And the way the whole sales team approaches a sale, the way sales are viewed, the mindset around it, the language we use it, the patterns we use. And then from that point forward, then I start training either you or the team or both at the same time. It really depends on the how everybody is comfortable in the situation, and then moving that forward, that's where I go.
Okay, so when you create a sales strategy, you say the communication, what do we do, how do we do it? Is it more like a framework, or is it more like a script that the salesperson should
hate scripts? Scripts are great if you can control the other person. That's the only place a script belongs, is if you're playing both sides of the conversation. Scripts otherwise, burn them, throw them away, use them as toilet paper, put them under your bird cage. I don't care. Scripts need to get lost because scripts don't sell. Human contact, the conversation, the belief around yourself as a salesperson, and if you're the entrepreneur, the belief system around what you do as a coach or trainer is the only thing that will sell a person, right? I have a saying, passion for selling is the only thing you're selling.
Okay. So do you have like certain pillars in that framework?
3 structures, yeah.
Okay. Mine is 3 pillars as well. So let's hear what's yours.
So my 3 pillars are introduction. That's, agreement. I set an agreement. I set a standard. If the person doesn't agree to a standard level of a conversation, I can't conduct a conversation, nor do salespeople. Are they allowed to go past that agreement section? So the 3 pillars are like a discovery section, discussing whether it's patterns or dislikes or things they're struggling with. The next section is future pace. Future pace is very much where would you like to be? What's stopping you from getting there? But mainly, what do you want to have? What do you want to build? Why do you want to build it? Discussion about setting goals, and then really breaking that down after that. The next section really isn't a section. It's just follow-up sequence questions. They're all psychological, just to see if the person's really committed.
Okay.
Committed. And then the third section is really walking them through the entire process of not necessarily, any salesperson that's going to speak needs to commit to speaking less than 10%. Okay. It's focused on the other individual. Always will be, always has been, always should be. And people don't give a shit about me as a salesperson. And I like that. I like to be behind the scenes. I'm very intriguing. I want to know, or intrigued. I want to know what people have. I want to know what people want, desire. So I like to break that down with them. So in the future pace section, that's where we can get that, because that's more telling. That future pace of, let's say we're having this discussion X amount of months from now, what do you want to see have happen? What do you want? And they break down the goal. And that goal really gives me, and this is where the emotional tie comes in. If they tell me, and generally it's, they want a process in place or a system. They want, financial, and then they want to travel. So travel means freedom. That means they don't have freedom now. So it's more telling than the discovery section. If someone says that they want money, that means they want security. They want something in their life that's tangible that they can count on. So they don't have security. They're not safe. And the other one that generally gets given is a process. They want a process in place, and that process always breaks down to confidence. They're not confident in themselves. They're not confident in the system that they have is producing. They are confident in what they can do, but they're not confident in themselves of producing something specific. And so that, again, is that emotional tie. So we talk about that, even though in the discovery section, we're going to talk about it in the future pace. And then the final structure that I kind of touched on briefly was kind of giving them a tidbit of what they're going to be getting with that entrepreneur, coach, or client, okay? What their actually tangible value is. And you keep that very short, but you still ask them questions in each section of that. And there's 3 sections just within that 3rd section.
Okay. So 3 sections with a few subsections. And
Yep.
How long would you say is on average that sales conversation that your clients then have with their prospects?
Depends on pricing. So I do not like second call closes. In some areas, like the $120,000 clients or $100,000, you need second calls. But the first call, always one call close is going to be anywhere from 35 to 45 minutes. Okay. If you're in too long, you're taking that person too deep, and they're really not going to see their direction or light at the end of the tunnel. Have you ever been underwater so far down that you don't know which way's up?
No, I agree. If it's too long, you dive into too many things, and instead of giving them clarity on the outcome, you confuse them even more. So,
yep.
I absolutely
35
agree.
to 45 minutes is about the range. I like, I got to the point when I was first started out in high ticket sales, I could close 10 grand in 30 minutes regularly toward the end. So that's the sweet spot.
Okay. Well, Josh, are there any examples, of course, without names, some storytelling? So my client, before they started working with me, they had this situation, then we implemented the system that you just shared with us, and then some before and after stories or something like that potentially you can share with us, or some tips and tricks for the audience, maybe something that they can do tomorrow to become better before they reach out to you.
Well, I can do both really quick. So the first would be just a couple quick stories. I had a gentleman who'd been trying to, he had a good marketing campaign. He had a good system. He was bringing his ideal client. What ended up in the results were, out of a 3-month stretch, he was speaking to 60 people that were actually ideal, like very ideal clients for him, and he couldn't close one. He was referred to me, spoke to him. It was a great conversation. I looked at what he was doing and who he helped and why he was helping him. And then I broke it down in the 60 clients. I reached back out and said, look, you're playing small. Let's move forward with this. He was on board just in a matter of days. Broke down his process, had 3 great calls with him, and he was so excited to get on the call over the weekends before I actually had his whole outline done, and we even practiced it. He called me or he messaged me and said, man, I'm having so much fun. I'm talking to my business partner about this. I'm ready to go. I've already reached out to 2 people and one of them's on board. So by the end of the first week after training the outline, he had sold 5 clients in. The next week was like 4 clients, but he had been closing people at full price deals. For him, 10,000 was insane to even get that 1 call closes. So he's at like or he was, I should say, at like 9 clients out of that 60 that I told him I wanted him a minimum of 12 sold out of that list. And we, worked through that list together. And last time I heard, he's already running more ads because he's making more money. So he's going to work on that list, that 60. The other quick example is I had a client that reached out to me who's been in the business for a long time as a coach. And she came to me and said, hey, I'm relaunching. I'm going to do a webinar. 29 people registered. We went through her soft close and pitch at the end. And then when it came to fruition, out of the 29 people, 28 bought. And she said it was the most seamless sales process she's ever dealt with. And that was just by simple wording at the end, the way her call to action lined up with who she was. So again, going back to that authentic personality and matching it to her audience. And that's all done through sales. Marketing's great for it and to bring in the people for the webinar. But at the end, 28 out of 29 people registered, closing the 28 she was blown away. The few things I can give you sales tip wise, don't compromise ever. Don't bring somebody in that you can't help. That's a no-brainer. But the biggest one for me, and it's really been showing up lately, is when you're in the discovery section or finding out about your client, do not use the word I understand. I know there's that old feel, felt, found. Stop that. Stop that. Immediately. Anybody that does that, look at it from a standpoint of saying, I understand where you're at, or I feel, or I felt, or people found. You're relieving their pain with false promises. In all honesty, and that's a harsh way for me to put it, but that's the only way I can really put it, is when you say, I understand exactly where you're at, you kind of make them feel not special, number one, but you're also relieving their pain of them not getting the actual help, which would be them moving forward with you. So when you're in that discovery section or finding out what they're actually dealing with or what their struggle is, allow them to process that and have their own awarenesses on that call. Because at the end, if there's any objections or any stored trauma, look, it may sound weird to say, but objections are just trauma, or excuses, trauma, that come out at the end of the call are simply things that were not allowed to be processed in their past, and that past will always bite them or you in your ass at the end. So stay on top of, giving them a great conversation at the beginning of the call and really digging into what they're trying to accomplish and why, but mainly why they haven't gotten there. Because you're not there just to sell them. Let's say you can't help them, but you sell them in your course. Ethically, that's misled. So if you really dig in, it's not to hold them accountable or really push them or make them feel bad about themselves. It's to find out, number one, if you can line up or align with them based on your integrity and who you are and what you're able to actually accomplish, then it's a no-brainer. That will be felt by them and they'll move forward on the end. But if you allow them to get out of that space by saying, I understand, or I feel you, or I know what you mean, or I've had other clients have been there too, that's a form of selling. Just stop. Just show up to help. And they're going to come in regardless.
Okay, that's some good, really good, solid advice. Absolutely. Josh, I would love to have you just talk, but we are at around 30 minutes. No, I mean, really, really good. Both the two stories you shared, because I'm sure many people can, relate to that. And also two very good tips. So I want to ask you still, so if I understood Gerard, who connected us correctly, it's not only that you coach your clients, but you also do some sort of a done alongside, or where you can headhunt for a salesperson, teach them, manage them, or oversee them. So that's another thing that you offer to your clients, right? To bring in a sales team instead of them trying to find it. You can help them find the sales team and train it and all of that, right?
Yeah, and I there's always suggestions of where to find the best salespeople, and there's some ninja stuff that goes along with that, and it's fun. But building out a sales team is incredibly important. But I mean, it can be fun. How do I put this? It's always a risk to build out a team, but when you build out somebody that has their own shoot, my words are escaping me. If they have skin in the game and they're willing to show up every day, and they can feel that basically that camaraderie from the CEO and the entrepreneur, that's really where it is. So I do train, I do train entrepreneurs and coaches. If I have to build out a setter team, I build out setter teams. So it's just a whole spectrum. I call it a culture. I want to replace the push manipulative culture with a very heartfelt offer, and that's what I do from the get-go.
Okay. No, I just wanted to make sure that the audience understands that there's way more behind that they can chat with you than just what we dived in because of the limited time that we have. And I do want to ask you now if you can maybe extend your invitation to whoever would perhaps want to chat with you, want to have a conversation. What's the best way to reach out to you? Who should that be? At what level maybe they should be? Like, just, whatever you want to say.
No, it's really easy. The best way to get a hold of me is on my Facebook page, Mastery in Sales. I don't really post there much because I just don't have time. I'm working with so many different clients. But if you guys either know a salesperson or looking for a salesperson, or wanting coaching yourself, just contact me, message me through that Mastery in Sales, or just send me a friend request on Facebook, Josh Brunson. That's the easiest way to do it anymore. I mean, emails, whatever. I respond to clients, but it's Facebook is the best way because I get a real feel for who the person is over Facebook more than anything.
Okay, fair enough. Well, Josh, as I mentioned to you before we even started this, because it's a chatty thing that we do, I sometimes maybe don't ask all the questions, and maybe there's something that you would specifically want to leave the audience with. So the golden nugget of wisdom moment, and the floor is yours.
This is going to sound corny, Miha, but it's to show up to help. And out of moral obligation, anything in sales should be morally driven. If you're going to be an entrepreneur, sales, or coach, I watched my dad build 13 successful businesses. He was an entrepreneur before startup or entrepreneurs were even something to be cool or mentioned or thought of be as cool. Show up to help out of moral obligation for humanity, to push and help people thrive, not just to get fucking rich. A gentleman reached out to me and said, "Don't you want to be like Grant Cardone?" And I make good money. I'm not gonna lie. I'm blessed. Someone said, "Don't you want to be like Grant Cardone over Messenger, make $230 million in 6 months?" And I said, the sad thing is you think wealth is only built off of how much you make. I could sleep well at night.
No, I fully agree with you. At our company, our vision is to help create servant leaders, because I strongly believe that a true entrepreneur is a servant leader, and we in the whole aspect of that definition, and one of those things is standing behind their morals and values like integrity and walk the talk and value. And one of my favorite quotes that I really make sure that I live by every day, I think it's by Albert Einstein, and he says, don't just be a man of success, rather be a man of value.
That is good.
And it's really close to my heart, and it kind of like really goes well with what you just said. Stand behind your values and morals, and like he said, when you go to sleep, you sleep like a baby. And
I have no problem.
yeah, I don't think there's anything more important than a good night's sleep and being able to go to bed and know that if you could, you helped, but if you couldn't, you didn't do anything to hurt anybody.
Yeah. And that goes back to that moral obligation. You know, it's like, if I know I can help, there's nothing that's going to stop me from moving that person forward. But if I can't, there's also that in me that's, you know what, let's give this person some value while we're on the phone and move them forward, but I can't take them on as a client.
Yeah, perfect. Josh, just a perfect ending to a lovely, lovely, lovely conversation. Thank you for, everything you shared with the audience. I really appreciate you, and I appreciate you for coming to the show. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for having me on. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, I wish you nothing but all the best. Happy Monday, happy week, happy month, happy year. And I'll definitely talk to you soon again. So take care for now. Bye, Josh.
Bye.
Okay, everybody. So that was Josh Brunson. Damn, like this ending really got to me. I mean, as you could see from the conversation, he definitely is a man of values, a man of high morals. I mean, it's no wonder because I was introduced to him by just the most ethical marketeer in the world that I know, with high morals and high standards. So it's not strange that Josh is sharing those same values. We are moving away from that traditional sales, from that used car salesman sales. I've been saying so many times on this LinkedIn Lives that I really believe that we've entered, and when we are really moving fast and forward in relationship economy, building relationships, being servant leaders, coming from the point of value. And so if you're a coach, if you're a consultant, if you're good at what you do, if you really know how to help your clients, but maybe you struggle with sales or with marketing. If you're struggling with marketing, I'll just connect you with Gerard. But yeah, reach out to Josh. If you want an introduction, let me know, but you can just go to his Facebook, friend request him, say, hey, I've heard you on Micha's LinkedIn Live, and like he said, he will be more than happy to connect with you and have a chat and at least give you some value, even if he might not be the right person to help you. So yeah, that's it for today. Next Monday, another LinkedIn Live. I hope everybody is healthy and safe and happy. I hope everything's going well for you guys. Don't forget to subscribe to YouTube channel. We are now at 120 something subscribers, which is amazing because I haven't done anything to grow it except sharing it here on LinkedIn Live. So amazing in a way. So yeah, take care, everybody. If you are enjoying the summer, then yeah, I'm a little bit jealous, but it's gonna come my time as well to go for a little bit of vacation. But until next Monday, enjoy and have fun. Bye.